All right, good evening, everybody. Jeremy Marquez here with jmarqeting. This is a power prospecting call tutorial video. I always have some ideas in my mind of things I want to do and things I want to present to you guys. And since power prospecting is new, I have the ability to demonstrate what I do for realtors, but on myself. Because full time, what I do daily is make cold calls for realtors. I'm able to critique my own calls and what I'm doing as if I'm doing that for one of my realtors, my agents that I'm training. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple of the campaigns that I'm working on, my call campaigns in my service we call You Close, okay? So right now I currently have two different campaigns in Los Angeles and in the Bay Area, North Bay Area in Sonoma County. And it is just at 8:20 on Friday night, and hey, I'm making videos because I'm trying to develop content for you guys to be able to build value and show you that I have something to add to what you're doing with your prospecting and your cold calling services. And I decided to get cute, and I also referee soccer part-time when season is going. And so I pulled out one of my jerseys. It's a referee jersey. However, even though I'm kind of like a coach, referee, I think I maybe my just to have for fun, I'm going to be the real estate referee. Better watch out. You might get a red card and get sent out of here. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's see how we're going to do this. I think what I'll do is pull up the RedX platform, which is what we call from in the Los Angeles campaign, and we'll just look at the weekly stats. And guys, if anything, if you ever heard the term transparency, full transparency, that's what I'm offering here with my services, full transparency of what I do. I believe that's the best way to show value and show what you got. And hey, I know the lighting's a little bit dark, however, it is 8:20 at night on a Friday. So I'm having fun with this video. I got some new LED lights going around the studio, the living room, whatever you want to call it. All right, so let's look at the week, all right? So we're going to look at, the week started, Monday was the 3rd. We'll just call it the 2nd, okay? And then today is the 7th, right? So unfortunately I can't do a screen share. Next time I do this, now next Friday, what I'll do, give me 1 second. What I'll do next week when I do this is I'll do it on either Zoom or on Hangouts, because then I can share the screen and show you guys the platform side of things, right? And I just pulled it up. I'm watching myself now. You guys can see the lighting's not bad. All right, so let me share this publicly, just so if anybody wants to come check it out and see what I'm doing. You know, I didn't plan this out. I didn't script this out. I just had a thought in my mind, and I had some time while I'm watching the Kings game. Yeah, if you didn't know, I'm a big-time Sacramento Kings fan. Huge. They're doing okay, man. They're just coming off of a 4-0 winning streak on the road. They're at home tonight. I just came back from a bike ride. Okay, give me 1 second. I want to be able to share this and see get some feedback. You know, any feedback is good, positive and or negative. Be realistic though, guys. If you guys don't understand what I'm doing here, part of my services is a cold call or sales training service for realtors. But my main service is I actually make calls myself for realtors, and so I'm going to go ahead and just talk about some of the stats, do some call review, that type of thing. Show you some of the things that I do for agents when they're in my training program. Got a couple in there now. A couple more are going to be coming in the next couple of days. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so I'm looking at what they call the pulse report. So RedX has an area in their platform where you can go in, you can look at the stats. And so what I did is I pulled the stats from May 2nd to May 7th, so this last week. So it tells me the lead types, like what I called, how many leads, how many actual calls made, how many actual dials, how many contacts, how many people answer the phone, either yes, no, that type of thing. How many appointments were set, voicemails were left, callbacks were set, that type of thing, okay? And this isn't completely accurate because it doesn't track everything completely, but it will give you an idea. So total actual calls made was going to be 960. It's a little bit low, but it's because just the way the list was. Total leads 470. 137 expireds, 287 geo leads, 46 for rent by owners, okay? 17 contacts, 1 appointment, and that's an actual face-to-face appointment, but ended up being over the phone. Let's pull up some. Now what we can do is go to the call recording section. Okay, well, let's go back to the pulse report. So what does this tell us? Okay, so when I'm looking at your call report, when we start every week, we'll do a meeting like this, and we'll look at your metrics. We'll look and see how many dials you made. We'll look and see what type of leads you were calling. We'll look and see how much time you spent. Look and see how many appointments you set. And what we can do over time, every week when we do that, is we can go back and look, and then every month we can look. And we can look at your progress over time, and what we'll be able to see is that. Your contacts will go up, your appointments will go up, and over time your metrics will change, and as you get better, and eventually you'll kind of plateau off. And then we'll be able to see exactly how much time you have to spend to be able to have so many dials, and then create so many leads, and then have so many appointments, and then we can see how many listings you got from those appointments. And then we get an idea of kind of really how much time you need to spend to be able to reach your goal. Because we're going to set goals for you weekly, monthly, and annually. And really what it comes down to is monetary goals, right? And then what we can do is we can reverse engineer the analytics, the metrics, or the stats, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. We can reverse engineer it and determine how much time you need to spend every day making calls, and which lead type you should spend more time on because you're better at, or which we need to work on more, that type of thing, right? So it's important to know your stats, your metrics, your analytics. When I first started in sales when I was 16 years old, that was back I'm 39 now, so 23 years ago when I first got my first sales, I didn't care about that stuff. All I wanted to do was be able to get the result, whatever the result was, whether it was getting a credit card or signing them up or creating an appointment. That was all my mind was about. Why? Because at that time when I was young and I was just getting into sales and marketing, I was really focused on the money, on the bag, right? I was focused on that paycheck. And yes, we need that. That's what we're focused on. But today, fast forward, I'm 39 years old now, I know that if I focus on process and I focus on helping you, and I'm successful at that, and I do it enough, and the solution I'm providing is creating value and giving you a return on your investment, then I know if I set this up properly, which hopefully I have, that the income and the finance and that side of things of the business is going to be there. My focus now is really going to be the process of building out different solutions and systems. And right now my focus is real estate marketing on the listing and the listing side. So that's why I've aligned myself as one of the go-to inside sales assistants or assassins or virtual sales team. My goal is to build this out on a very large scale, to set it up to where, yes, I'm training you from the very beginning, but I'm getting you to a point where you're going to start closing deals and get so busy and have enough income to be able to afford a service and budget a service to where you can put us in place to be able to make calls for you. So what I'm doing right now is a demonstration of just some of the things that we do in the training program on a weekly basis. So it's a weekly training. You and I as an agent, or I'll meet with your assistant, you and I, one-on-one, not a room full of your staff, just you and I. We'll do things like setting up your platform, setting up folders, filters, optimizing it to make sure that you're spending your time wisely, and I will be there to help you optimize it along the way. It's not like just a one and done type thing, okay? We'll do script work, so we'll do pitches. You'll do role play. Basically, get you familiar with what you're doing. But the best way to learn and the best way to really get good with your cold calling is just to get in there and get on the phone, guys. Because with a system like RedX, like Vulcan 7, like Mojo, these different real estate platforms, they record your calls. Everything's tracked. So not only are the metrics there, but the call recordings are there. So we can listen to the call recordings, good calls, bad calls, and you can listen to them. I can listen to them as your mentor, as your trainer, as your coach. We can talk about it, okay? And we can help you get better, okay? That's why having a platform like this is a wise investment on top of being part of the Power Prospecting program, okay? So speaking of which, let's go back and listen to a couple of recorded call recordings. Why not? Let's go ahead and close this. There's a couple of ways you can do that. You can download the MP3 and have it on your cloud or your local storage, or you can just keep it on the RedX cloud. It's really up to you, however you want to do it, right? I personally take the MP3 and put it in the cloud. Reason being is I need to be able to have a handoff to my realtors. And so when I have that handoff, I provide the MP3 so they can listen to the call recordings. So there's full transparency and we're on the same page of what's happening. See which one we're going to pull up here. It doesn't really matter, really. I mean, even if it's a bad call. Let me take a look here. Yeah, that was kind of a weird call. We want to have just a decent call, at least a complete call with some sort of result. So give me a moment and I'll find one here. There's the Cochrane one. Let me find the Cochrane one. It was kind of a go back and forth one. Alright, give me one moment. So let me set this one up. This one was a multi-family off-market listing, so it was, I think it expired. And so I called the seller, and the seller was off-market. He knew he was off-market. He was planning to relist, but he was going to be shopping realtors. Okay, so let me go ahead and play. It's a 5-minute call, and let's just see how this goes here. Make sure my audio is all correct here. Turn this down.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Jeremy calling from John Hart Real Estate about your property there on Cochrane.
Yes.
I didn't have your name, so I apologize. Just wanted to make sure I was speaking to the owner.
So, not really paying attention to what I'm saying, but listen to the tone and the speed. So the reason why I slowed it down and kind of changed my tone a little bit, which I do all the time, is because I was mirroring and matching, okay? I was trying to ease in. I didn't want to come too overboard and too excited on him, because that's not how he is. He probably would have exited the call quickly. So the opening, the first 15 seconds, which is why I paused it, the first 5, 10, 15 seconds are huge. When you're calling leads that other realtors are calling, you have to give this person who answered the phone a reason to listen to you, a reason to want to speak to you. You have to sound a little bit different in those first 5, 10, 15 seconds. Otherwise, there's a good opportunity that they're going to have a negative thought and want to exit the call.
Just like you had to come off the market, and I just was curious to see if you still would sell if you can get the right offer.
Seen that it came off the market, pause. I was curious if you'd still sell if you can get the right offer. Question mark, pause, shut up.
Yep.
He said, yep.
Now let's try to. What's your name again?
My name is Jeremy. I work for Carl Marqueting here, and we saw that you were listed for a couple of months, but then it came off, and we were hoping to talk to you about still getting that sold if you were still open to selling.
Saw that it was listed for a few months because when you're calling expired listings, if you're reading your lead as you should, as you're speaking to them, you see how long it was on the market. So you're feeding yourself information as you're listening to them, because the expired listings is going to have how long it was listed, who it was listed with. It will give you information that is valuable to bring to the conversation as you're speaking to somebody. So guys, you have to be able to kind of do a couple of different things while you're speaking to these guys. And part of my training is I'll point that stuff out and I'll make sure that you know what stuff is important to bring to the call.
Let's put it this way. Let me help you with the sales pitch.
Now he's going to try to be, well, not try. And I shut up and I let him. He said, let me help you with your sales pitch. Funny guy. Well, long story short, I don't want to play the whole thing, but at the end of the day, it ended up being a listing that is still active right now because it's multifamily. But he gave me a hard time, but it ended up being a good call at the end of the day. So let's continue to listen.
At the moment, I have.
Here, just talking.
Yeah. I have.
He's not even listening to me. He's like, yeah. He's trying to school me up real quick.
At the moment, I do have an issue.
Okay.
But I took it off the market.
So this is when, no matter what they say, even if they're being a smart ass, you just be quiet, because this is when they just start talking, okay? He said, well, at the moment, I still have it listed, and so now I'm listening, I'm taking notes, because he's going to give me information to be able to bring the next call, the next question. That's the most important thing, is to listen to information and be able to ask open-ended questions to continue on the conversation.
Let's go to right here right now. I'm not interested. Great big things. The revenue that it's going to bring in. Right now it's fake.
He's telling me that he's going to potentially rent it. Now he's talking about the revenue. So he's trying to determine whether or not he's going to hold it for cash or list.
I did not rent it out because it's fake. Because it's the best choice.
Okay.
This property brings roughly $160 a year revenue.
Okay.
The price it was listed is about 15.5.
So initially he was like, let me help you with your sales pitch. And in my mind, I thought, even just now, I thought that he was going to like kind of be rude and potentially exit the call. However, I just zipped it. And yes, I'm saying okay, because I'm listening and I want him to know, simple acknowledgments. But now he's giving me all the good information. He's giving me everything.
I'm looking for like multiple growth, and I don't see why it is there, but hey, crazy time. Now, yes.
Feedback?
Now he's talking about the listing and the sale, and I'm saying, did you get any feedback, like from the agent? Did you get any feedback as to what happened?
The feedback is like, it's a 4 unit, so it's a tough one.
Right, it's a 4 unit.
It's prefix. So it's kind of like, it's a tough deal. But it's okay. I'm free on clear on this one. I have no nothing that put me in stress. One scenario was just pointed out, and
He's basically saying that it's a great investment property for an investor who's looking for a 4 unit, not a lot of upkeep, great revenue, that type of thing. So he's kind of letting me know, just in case we have some buyers.
Hold it for another year or two, and don't go back to the market after and see what's up. But if you feel that you can bring something to the table that it will be within interest to me, I will absolutely listen to offers. And if you have a buyer, right now I don't have a listing agent. If you have a buyer, you will have a buyer and seller.
He's basically saying if you have a buyer, That's what I'm looking for. He's looking for a buyer, an agent that has a buyer. So if we had a buyer, he would talk to us. He would give us the listing and have the buyer. Okay, so now he's talking turkey. He's talking real stuff, and he's saying, okay, well, I want a realtor that already has a buyer. Then I'll list, and you can get the both sides. What's up, Otis?
Perfect. Okay.
And I just said perfect, okay? And I was making notes this whole time.
Well, that's all good stuff. Like I said, I work for Carl Marqeting. He specializes.
And I don't know why I repeated that, because really I didn't know where I was going to go with the call. I should have said great, and then set up a time for them to connect. And that's where I'm going with it, but I was just slow rolling it. Let's see.
Multi-family units like yours.
I was just saying that Carl's experience with multifamily units, and he doesn't really care about that, to be honest.
So, what I'd like to do is tell him everything you just told me, and from there, you might want to reach out to just establish your relationship.
So now I'm painting the picture that I'm on a team, and I'd like to go ahead and discuss this with Carl, painting the bigger picture that I'm not the person handling the business. I'm going to connect you with Carl.
If we have a buyer, we'd let you know. Basically, that's the bottom line. We do have a group of investors that are curious to.
Because the truth is that Carl does have a handful of investors that are looking for different property types in certain areas, and so we target those areas. So they give us an upper hand with a lot of other commercial and luxury listing agents in the market.
About properties like that right now. I don't know for sure if we do, but I'm just saying that's kind of how we work.
I'm just saying I don't know if we have somebody who's interested, but there's a good opportunity that we do.
That's fair.
You said that's fair.
We have a 4-unit, well, not right around the corner, but we just listed a 3-unit over on Kenmore, and we have another one coming up over there that's a 6-unit. So, and we are seeing them, sell. And so, straight, what I'll do is, like I said, tell him what you told me, allow him to connect with you if he has any more questions, so we can, be educated about this approach.
More than happy. I will make a decision the next week or so on with whom I'm going to go, or how I'm going to go, or what I'm going to do.
And he did.
Right now, I just went off the market, and I'm going to keep it for another week or two like that. And I will let a lot of you reach out, and if somebody can bring a buyer in.
He basically is repeating it again. Whoever brings a buyer, I'm going to give the listing to, so you can get both sides.
Maybe a double deal.
That's perfect. And what's your first name?
Aaron.
Aaron. Last name?
Shahar. S-H-A-H-A-R. And John, feel free to call me if you have any questions.
I have an email here. It's aaronshahar1@yahoo.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. When we get done, I'll talk to Carl. He'll reach out and just have a conversation and go from there. And that way we can just talk to you about what we would do, and we make that decision. Hopefully our name would be in that hat.
Great. Sounds good, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, guys. So fast forward. This was a call to an off-market multifamily unit property, and that's about 75% of what I do for this campaign. And we found a way to do it within Red X. We were concerned at first that we weren't going to be able to find multifamily leads. And part of my training is if you guys want to do different property types, I can really help you focus in on price point, area, property type with Red X, with Mojo, with Vulcan, these different platforms. You get really specific, so you can call specific areas and specific property types. Duplexes, only duplexes, triplexes, quad, 5+, 10, or you can have them all mixed together, and that's usually what I do. Even single-family residences, because I'm able to switch the pitch up. I can quickly just look and see what type of property it is. A lot of times, if you're newer and you're prospecting, sometimes it's overwhelming a little bit to go back from tab to tab or screen to screen and be talking as well and pitching, because sometimes you're also still reading a script, so it's almost impossible. Whereas right now, at my point in my career, everything is internalized, so when I'm calling, it's more conversational. So I'm able to do things like go from tab to tab or read notes and things like that while I'm listening, or even while I'm talking. And it helps a lot to be able to have that multitasking down. so that way you can be prepared for the next part of the conversation. So that's the campaign in Los Angeles. Let me switch it up here and let's go over the numbers for the campaign in the Bay Area. So I do have room for my calling at least. This is for my training, the power of prospecting. I'm making this video, but right now, as of May 7th, 2021, I have room for one realtor, broker, or team to do calling for, okay? There's a couple of stipulations. I know that you're gonna, vet me out and you're gonna look at other options besides me, and that's okay, I don't care. Specific realtors of a certain level will come to me, and because that's just the type of realtors that are drawn to me because of my marketing and just the results that I get. So what I'm getting at is this. If you're doing 3 or more transactions every month right now, and you've been doing that for about a year, or similar when it comes to volume, so like you're doing less numbers but higher property price points, we can talk about that too. Preferably in the Central Standard Time Zone or the Eastern Standard Time Zone. I have 2 on the West Coast right now. I would like to have 1 in the Central or in the East Coast. So I have a couple of realtors that I'm talking to. They haven't pulled the trigger yet, but when they do, then I'm booked. But if you don't meet that criteria, that's fine. That's why I opened up Power Prospecting. So I train you one-on-one to help to get you to a level of calling on your own, to where you're closing deals and creating revenue to a point where then, a few months down the line, in 6 months or a year, whenever, you can afford a service like mine or hire an employee internal or something like that, and then delegate your calls out. Quick story, Tommy Quinn, the poster child of Power Prospecting, started working with me back in September of last year. And he's to a point now where him and his partner are closing deals and carrying listings, and they've gotten busy enough to where they've decided to hire me. So that's my Bay Area campaign. And right now, it looks like we're going to go ahead and look at the numbers for the week here for this campaign. So 633 calls, 355 different leads, 74 expires. We're doing a lot of geo leads, the 205 geo leads. We're breaking into the foreclosures here. So we're doing foreclosures and 4 written by owners too. So 64 4 written by owners and 12 foreclosures. Let's listen to a call here. I want to listen to the one where we actually we're looking at 5 different listings right now. So it was a 4 rent by owner and it was an investor, and she initially agreed to let us do a CMA or do an analysis on the one property I was calling about, but it turns out that she actually has 4 more, her whole portfolio that she wants us to run numbers on, and eventually over the next several months list. So one call that I made, right? Give me one moment and I'll find that listing here. And we'll just listen to the call real quick. Here we go.
Hello.
I was trying to reach Roger or Chelsea.
Speaking.
Actually, I want to play it here on a different way, so that way I can actually control it. Give me 1 second. I was playing it from the Red X platform. I've already downloaded the MP3, and I want to have a little bit of control and play it that way.
Hello.
I was trying to reach Roger or Chelsea.
Speaking.
I was reaching out about the property that you guys have for rent on Wikia Meadows. This is Jeremy with Old 12 Acre. Did you get that rented, or is it still available?
Yes, what is this rented?
Oh, okay. Well, I was just reaching out to see if you guys were at some point considering selling this or any of the properties that you have in your portfolio.
You notice that my tone is different on that call. I even lowered my voice a little bit. It's kind of cheesy, but I did that just because I wanted to be a little bit softer and not so in her face. All right, so
I'm not sure.
hold on.
Yes, what is this rented?
Oh, okay. Well, I was just reaching out to see if you guys were at some point considering selling this.
At some point, because a lot of people always say we're not selling right now. So I usually say, instead of saying, hey, are you selling your house? At some point, Were you considering selling?
Concerning the properties you have in your portfolio.
You need the properties you have in your portfolio. And she says,
I'm not sure.
I'm not. So when they say something like that, guys, you know there's something going on there.
We briefly discussed it, but that's about it.
Sure. Well, with the market being so hot, how could you not at least consider it, right?
Right. Exactly. We're just not ready to pay capital gains.
Not ready to pay capital gains yet. However, they don't realize that there's creativity that we can do to be able to work with that type of stuff. Not my department. However, the realtor that I work with can tell you all about that and help you with that.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Well, I work for the Tommy Quinn team. I'm one of his assistants.
Uh-huh.
What I would like to do, if you're okay with it, is have Tommy just run some numbers for you and send that over so you guys can look at the numbers and have a discussion. And if it makes sense, you can talk to Tommy when you're ready.
Yep.
You know what? Why don't you look me up in about 90 days?
In 90 days?
Well, she said, well, yeah, but in 3 months.
Yeah.
Would it be okay to simply just shoot you over our information? Do you have that on hand? Tommy would put together the numbers. It wouldn't take him more than 10 minutes, and then he could just email it over so you have it on hand.
Sure.
What's the best email, Kelsey?
Kelsey, KELSEY1208 at AOL.com.
You're still using AOL?
Give her a little crap about that.
I know, right? I have others.
Well, I know how it is sometimes changing, old email addresses.
Right. Yeah, I've had it for many, 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 many years. So, yeah, that's it.
I'm curious. You have this one. Do you guys have other properties?
So when you're talking to an investor and they're open to talking to you and letting you run some numbers, you always want to find out if there's any other properties that they consider selling as well. Because usually there might be.
I do.
Okay. I don't want to waste too much of your time, but my goal would be, if you're ready, when you're ready, just to connect you with Tommy, allow you guys to meet, and if you guys hit it off, he'd be available for any, analysis or when you're ready to list, that type of thing. We're just right here in Petaluma, and we'd like to be able to make ourselves available as your go-to if needed.
Okay.
So we'll shoot you over an email so you can see who Tommy is and a little bit of our marketing stuff so you can see what we do with our listings. And when you're ready, I can connect you and you guys can have a coffee or a Zoom or whatever it is you guys decide to do.
Awesome. Appreciate the call. Thank you so much.
Boom. So long story short, after that call, she sends us over 4 more addresses to run CMAs on. Mark and Tommy are in the works of working with her, so we're going to, and that's one of several that I have going in that campaign. Both campaigns are rocking, guys. So proof's in the pudding, full transparency. If you want to get information about this, and I mean information, I mean if you want to get started, because there's really not much to sell you on, it's full transparency, guys. You hire me, you put me in the game, I start calling for you, I create leads, I set appointments, you get listings, we close deals, everybody's happy. So, now, power prospecting. What I'm doing right now as far as critiquing my own calls and listening to my calls and looking at the metrics and putting together plans, I do with you one-on-one, okay? We're going to work together one-on-one weekly. I'm going to be part of your team. The part of your team that's kind of like a second brain to be able to help you work through stuff, work through scripts, work through leads, work through deals. Just practice. Most importantly, keep you accountable. Every day I'll have you send me a report of your calls and have you send me some addresses of some calls and recordings to go in there and listen to. And we'll talk about it and we'll help you get better. That's the whole idea, guys. So, power prospecting is a focus of real estate sales on the phone. I will show you guys how to use a dialer system to be able to create leads, to turn them into appointments, and to be able to create new listings. One-on-one, we'll do it step by step from setting up your platform to making calls to setting appointments. When you're ready to get started, join the group, Rookie to Relevant Realtor Resource. It's public. And then also add yourself to the calendar. I'll send you a link and we can get started. Have a great day, guys. Well, and a safe weekend.